nation. This is the way that we bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. Igniting the fire within you. Exalting the melody of freedom. These are the things that will bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. So gather the faithful. Tell everyone to stand and shout loud. Shout loud. Shout loud. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down, down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down, down. Down, down, down.
Let me tell you, it's in the air. Joy is in the air. Love is in the air. Can you feel it? What it feel like? Freedom. What it feel like? Don't sleep on it, brother. You might get left, sister. Can you feel it? What it feel like? Freedom. What it feel like? Justice. No need to be counted, cause I am down. Down, down, down. Down, down, down. Down for the end of racism, for the end of bigotry, cause I am down. For the end of misogyny, that's right. For all the isms out there, just down, down, down. Let's bring it down. Rise up, people. No more foolishness, and let's bring it way down.
Riding the river of change into the cries of contrition. This is the way that we bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. We are the children of Eden, dancing and celebrating freedom. We are the ones that must bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. So gather the faithful. Tell everyone to stand and shout loud. Shout loud. Shout loud. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down, down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. We've got to bring it down. Down. Stand up and shout. Stand up and shout. Rise together.
Accountability starts now. The Eric Dawson Radio Show.
Yeah. Rise up. Stand up, shouting loud.
If you are not prepared to come to that table and to represent that voice, don't come. Because we don't need any more brown faces that don't want to be a brown voice. We don't need black faces that don't want to be a black voice. We don't need Muslims that don't want to be a Muslim voice. We don't need queers that don't want to be a queer voice. And if you're worried about being marginalized and stereotyped, please don't even show up.
Good morning. Good morning. Happy Friday.
Yep.
I don't have that kind of energy this morning.
I wonder why. I'm
Hmm.
not going to say why, but I wonder why.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, well, I had a loss in my family last night.
Oh, you did? I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah. This is so much going on, Diane. I mean, there was a time where I would say to people, like, we didn't have a death in my family for a long time. Like, friends of mine, and,
Mm-hmm.
they'd be going to funerals, and, and I, just was, saying that, we never did. And, I just thought my family was special that way, right? That, we were invincible to death and those kinds of things. And now I'm watching so many giants, like absolute giants in my family, just leave us. And so my uncle Bernard, who was the president of the longshoremen's Black Longshoremen's Union, passed yesterday. And you know it I mean, just bigger than life guy. Did so many things for the men down there. We know historically, right? Italians and whites in general, are down there. But he was able to work and carve opportunities for a lot of black men and women down there at the port, and just the outshowing of appreciation and support last night, and to my aunt, who just absolutely adored him. Just devastating. But it just reminds you, because he went in, and people knew he had a lot of back issues, so he finally decided to go have back surgery. It was back surgery, and it was some sort of, and the surgery was successful, and from what I know now, they were wheeling him yesterday to just go get X-rays, and on the way to get X-rays, he expired.
Wow.
You know, so when you hear people say often, that we should be, grateful for the time that we have, right? And no one knows the appointed time, and people say those things, but you never know. And for me, all of this stuff that is happening around me is even more impactful because of my personal journey, right? So by all accounts, I shouldn't be here, right? Given the statistics on the cancer that I had, and how far it had progressed. And so to see other people who are leaving and I'm still here, like it's crazy for me. And it just drives home more and more for me, to be very purposeful in everything that I do. So anyway, that
Wow.
is it.
I'm sorry to hear about the death of your loved one. Yet, I think you're in a good space. One of the things that the death of our loved ones, especially those who are larger than life, who live out their true purpose, and who make a huge impact on the community, is that not only are they making an impact on the community, they're making an impact on us.
Yeah.
But I'd say that you're in a good space because it has seemed to galvanize you and reminded you that to live your life purposefully. Live it with the intention of doing A, B, C, and D.
Yeah.
That is a great reminder. And as long as you continue to do that, his memory his life and his example that he showed to you will always be honored.
So anyway, that's kind of the space that I'm in right now. Vincent, we had a great show yesterday. We couldn't. Sorry, people couldn't see it. I don't know. I know you were recording it, so at some point it'll be up. And we could talk a little bit about. And I know prior to Diane calling in and before we went on air, we were talking a little bit about it. And then there's a lot of stuff going on locally and nationally. Nationally, the election, right? And locally, locally, nationally, and internationally, the continued spread of COVID-19.
Well, an idiot decided to speed down the street and hydroplaned right into an electric pole, which blew out the transformer, knocking out a great part of Cherry Hill and Voorhees. So we had to actually do our show on backup generators, and PSE&G is still out right now trying to restore power.
Yo, hydroplaning is no joke.
Especially with all tires.
And for people, now is the time, right? Well, and folks, especially in lower income communities, can't afford new tires, right? They typically go to those local places and they get retreaded tires and things like that. Just be careful. And the rule of thumb is this: to know whether you have enough tread on your tire, they say if you take a penny and you put the penny in, if you can see, if it covers up part of old Abe's head, then you have enough tread. If it doesn't, then you need to get new tires.
Right. If you can see the top of Abe's head,
yes,
you need to get new tires.
Yeah. Okay. So let that be a marker for you guys, because without them, with the rain and then with the snow that's going to be coming, you'll be a hazard to yourself, to any loved ones that you're transporting, and certainly to other people on the road.
What snow? Global warming, brother. We don't get snow.
We don't get it like we used to.
No.
Diane, do you remember? Well, Diane, you're like 27 years younger than me, so have you noticed the time has gone backwards for Diane? Every day she's younger and younger than I am.
Well, that's the beauty of being a black woman. We can do that.
Yes, you can do that.
Black don't crack.
Yeah, but
or sag or stretch. It pops right back.
Bam!
As 2 Chainz would say, it's been a thick quarantine.
Uh-oh. But I remember, being a kid, man, and every time it snowed, it was almost like a blizzard, right?
Yeah.
And, I had my galoshes, I had, my big coats, I had my mittens, my gloves, and, of course, my mother, just like coating my face with 5 coats of Vaseline. Send me out there, to brave the elements. But now, like you said, Vincent, like last year, I don't remember much snow at all.
The last blizzard I think we had was around maybe 2013.
Yeah.
2012 was a really big blizzard. Literally was so big I had to dig myself to get into the house.
No, it wasn't 20. Wait a minute. No, it wasn't 2012.
2012?
Nope. It was 20. It was either 20. It was 2014.
No.
Yes, it was because I'm gonna tell you.
No, in 2014.
Raz was I'm gonna tell you. Remember this, Diane.
Big as they thought.
No, remember. Raz was mayor of City of Newark, and all those people were.
Okay.
Remember that, and all those people were snowed in.
Then that was after 2014. It had to be after 2015. Then that was like 2016 then.
It might have been 2016 because he was.
Because my mom had already passed away, so it had to be 2016. Then.
Yeah, because I remember, man, my family members were stuck for 2 weeks, man, and he kept saying, "Oh, we're gonna have it cleared tomorrow. Oh, we're gonna have it cleared."
And people were walking down the street because they couldn't get their
They couldn't get their cars out. And you know, and all of that was around the fact that they were just, and I think Pat Council at the time was heading that department, and it was a whole debacle. I mean, it was.
It was. You're right.
It was yeah. It was
the whole state that was a mess. Not even just North.
No, it wasn't, Diane. It was not, because at that point I was living on Val.
Yes, it was.
Diane,
it started in Broadway because I was out to see a client. I'm gonna tell you, I went to see a client in Broadway prison. He had to sign some documents, and it started snowing at like 12, and I was like, "Oh, I gotta get the hell out of here before I get stuck in Broadway."
So you're talking about two different snowstorms. So the one that I'm
the same one.
No, the one that I'm talking about, the big one. I was living on Valley Road in Montclair, and I took a picture of Valley Road, and they had plowed to the blacktop. Meanwhile, in Newark, they were stuck. So it wasn't all over the place. Now there was a second snow. Remember where it really wasn't a big snow? It was like a quarter of an inch of snow, but it shut down. It shut down the George Washington Bridge. It shut down everything. Those were two different incidences.
Okay, all right. Well,
and then remember Murphy came on and was saying, people were going to investigate to figure out how this happened. It was like, yo, you guys had a dusting of snow, and literally it shut down the entire tri-state area. That was different from the big snowstorm, which dropped 28 inches of snow. You see, you got it confused, Diane.
Right, church, just the wrong pew.
But hey, even if you're in the church, keep socially distant.
How do I get to Chick-fil-A? I got one better for you. How you get to Chick-fil-A and the freaking drive-thru is closed? Are you kidding me? I'm so disgusted.
What?
So here's the thing. Here's the new device that people need to come up with.
Wait.
This has happened to me 2 days in a row. Listen, you need a device in your car that says, don't forget your mask. Don't forget your mask. Don't forget your mask. As soon as I get to the door, I said, oh, crap, I forgot my mask. And
There is a device. Diane, there is a device. It's called your rear view mirror. I stick mine on a rear view mirror.
I got them all over here. That don't mean I'm going to remember to put it on and get out.
Hey, Diane, you got Chick-fil-A today?
Well, I'm not now because the drive-thru is closed, and I'm not getting out the car.
I
just left the last restaurant because I forgot my mask.
Can I recommend something instead of Chick-fil-A?
I'm not going to Krispy Kreme.
No. Wendy's has, right? Have you had it, Vincent?
Yeah.
And I got to be careful because Amina listens to the show and she bars me from the fast food. Yeah, but I eat it anyway. So if she's watching, I'm in trouble.
So Wendy's, what does Wendy's have? Because
they have a honey chicken biscuit.
Yes.
Diane, it tastes. Diane,
Yes.
Diane, I am serious.
Okay, all right. I'm going to try it.
And the barbecue sauce works so well with that.
You put No, you just gotta.
Yeah, a little honey on the top, but barbecue, a little touch of barbecue sauce.
Really?
A little spicy, a little sweet is a beautiful thing.
Well, I just have it plain because it almost reminds me of chicken and waffles, right?
Mm-hmm.
The flavor of the. And I bought yesterday when we left the bakery. I decided to treat Tyler because he worked really hard. That's a big guy, isn't he, Diane?
Yes,
You're
Lord.
good.
Right,
Well,
and so
Tyler is almost paying his full salary.
but Tyler, like I'm driving, right? We got him, and I'm eating mine, and I got to my second bite, and I looked over, and Tyler was done. Like it looked like. Yeah, it looked like it was like one bite, and he was on his third knuckle of his hand.
But you know what does start today?
What?
The $13 donuts and Krispy Kremes. If you would have ordered last night, wait a minute, this Wendy's ain't open. Oh my God, what is going on here?
And the road rage officially begins at 2:21 a.m.
Wait a minute, what do you mean Wendy's isn't open?
Plymouth Murray.
gotta drive back to Hillside. I'm so hungry.
They're closed. Wait a minute. Why is they're closed at 10?
I don't know. It looks like they're renovating or something. So
Oh, okay.
it's the cones and stuff.
Got it.
What's wrong with these people? It's Friday.
Okay. But well, listen. I'm telling you that honey chicken biscuit will bring sunshine to your life.
Okay, I'm on my way to Hillside now.
All right.
Just busted a U-turn.
Can you give me 2 of them?
I was gonna say bring one to the bakery because I leave you. We heading to the bakery.
Amina will be at the show to stop you.
Yeah, dude, right? She'll parachute from the sky, man, and snatch it out of my hand.
Oh boy.
Anyway.
This sucks. But anyway, yeah. So we need that little monitor to tell you to remember your mask because I've done it 2 days in a row. To be distracted to get out the car to walk there, especially to walk somewhere in the rain to have to turn around. That's why I was like, I don't want what I originally wanted, which was grits and fish,
Right.
which I can't get now because I'm not turning around to walk back in to place an order to stand there and wait. And so it's this whole big thing. It's just too much. It's too much.
Last night, hey Diane, you know what? If you bring me a honey chicken biscuit, I'll bring you some of the yams I made last night.
I don't want no yams.
I made my yams last night, and I was on a phone. I was on a phone with my ex-girlfriend from high school.
Why?
Why was I on the phone with her?
Why?
Oh, we're friends. High school, Diane. Diane, I'm talking about when I was a sophomore. So when I was a sophomore,
people you're supposed to leave behind.
no.
You see him at the reunion.
Our families. Our family, and Amina knows. Our families are very closely tied together. Her cousin, who's a good friend of mine, Irving, is the father of my niece, right? So we're all, and then her parents. I absolutely love Mama and Papa Gray, and Andrea, her youngest sister, is like a sister to me, and and Amina loves her. So we're all, so it's nothing, But I'm on the phone. Yes, and because Valerie's husband works at the port, so she was calling me to extend condolences in the passing of my uncle, right? And her husband was calling too to do that. But when we were talking, we were just kind of chatting about cooking because she's a cooking aficionado. And so I was in the process of making my yams. And she said, I can never get yams and blah, 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 blah. So I gave her my recipe, which is a very simple recipe, but it yields some of the best yams ever.
Okay, marshmallows or no marshmallows?
No marshmallow, no nothing. No, nothing. So
not even a little cinnamon and honey.
No honey. But it's yams. It's a yams. It's a little ginger powder, right?
Okay, wait, stop. Is it you pre-bake your yams?
No.
Or you boil your yams and slice them?
No. You peel them and you slice them. I don't even cube them. You just slice them and
like rough cut.
Yeah,
long
but
slices or short slices?
What?
Thick or thin?
Long slices. The long way?
No, not the long. I don't do mine the long way. I do them in they're like discs, like circles, right?
Sure.
Yeah, and they're about I'd say they're about an eighth inch thick, ish, right? And just and then so here I'm gonna give you the recipe. I'm gonna give you the recipe, right?
So you're saying you don't pre-cook them?
No, I don't.
Okay, gotcha.
I'm gonna give you the recipe. You ready?
I'm waiting.
Okay, 4 pounds of yams, right? You slice them like I just told you, and you set them aside. Then in a pan, 7 tablespoons of butter, right? 1 teaspoon of ground ginger, right? 1.5 teaspoons of cinnamon, 1 teaspoon of nutmeg, a tablespoon of vanilla, 1/4 cup of brown sugar and 1 full cup of granulated white sugar. Now, you mix the dry ingredients that I just told you in a bowl. You put the vanilla in with the melted butter, and then you put all of the dry ingredients in with the melted butter, right? You stir that and you bring that to a simmer, and literally you just pour it right over your yams that are in the half pan. You cover that, you put it in the oven at 375 for 45 minutes. You take it out, you toss them, right, to coat them with the, with all of the juices and everything. And then you recover it, put it back in for another 40 minutes. Done. Finished. Best yams ever. Now, I done gave it to you. I done gave it to you.
You got to pick up what he put down now.
I done gave it to you, and you know what? I'm gonna post a picture. I'm gonna post a picture of the yams I did last night. Right? I'm gonna post it. Hey Diane, if I send it to you, can you put it in this thread?
Yes, sir.
All right.
It doesn't sound appealing, but okay.
No.
It sounds like you done overcooked the damn yams, but okay.
All right, wait a minute. Ready? Wait a minute.
He done cooked all the nutrient out of it.
No, wait a minute, Diane. Here we go. Ready? I'm gonna send this picture to Diane, and Diane is going to. Diane's gonna post this picture. Tell me when you got it, Diane.
Oh my God, Jesus Christ! Wendy's doesn't have any more biscuits. I swear, I'm going to kill somebody this morning. I am going to kill some. Like what the?
Diane, did you get the picture?
A good start of your day, Diane.
She said, "We don't have any more biscuits. Would you like to put it on a croissant?" No.
Oh man.
Oh. The sacrilege of putting that on a croissant.
Yeah, you can't.
Especially if I wanted a biscuit. That's why I wanted to.
All right, Diane, I sent it to you.
I can't no more.
Did you get it, Diane?
No. The picture? I'm driving. You just hear me say that Wendy's don't have biscuits.
Eric, don't you hear that Diane's having a personal crisis?
All right, so Vincent, I'm going to send it to you. Can you post it in the thread?
I will post it in the thread. Just let me get to the next restaurant.
No, I'm going to send it to Vincent. I want Vincent to post it. I want people to see it now. I want you all to see it now.
I'm hungry.
Oh, God.
Wait a minute, here it comes, Vincent. And put this in the thread. You got it.
Would you text it?
Yep.
So this is the frustrating part. Have you ever been so upset about not getting what you want to eat that you're so frustrated that you can't eat anything?
Yep.
But you're very upset, and the only thing you can do is go to sleep angry and cry at the same time? Have you ever done that?
I don't cry, but I don't cry over that. I do cry, but I don't cry over that. And yes, I've gone to sleep discontented. Hey Vincent, what do you think about that picture?
Oh yeah, that picture is good.
See,
Diane, you may be.
How do I know that's your yams? I didn't see you make them.
Wow.
Oh, here we go.
Wow.
Yeah, but let's see the picture.
Wow. So you gonna?
Okay, let me see.
Wait. Diane, do you have the audacity to doubt my veracity and to insinuate that I might by chance prevaricate?
Oh, these are white people yams. Come on now, people. Who eating this? This is the yams that they feed you at the black restaurants because they got so many people to cook for.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Are you
No.
serious? Oh my God.
You got yams that don't even have seasoning on there. What the what?
What do you mean? No.
The bottom yam right there don't have no seasoning.
The bottom yam. Diane.
Like you guys said, it's not evenly seasoned. The problem with this, Eric, is the season is not evenly distributed across the yam. So every time you take a bite, it's not going to be the same taste of the yam. So you're going to keep eating more to get that first bite right.
Diane.
Eric.
Doesn't that go to the dynamics of the actual meal?
So everything that you said could have been plausible had you just, if you'd have boiled those yams and then sliced them and then put them in the oven with all of the seasonings wrapped.
Why am I boiling them?
Because it makes them softer and it cooks, and you don't have to double cook them for 80 minutes. You only cook it on one.
But what does boiling them have to do with the seasoning?
It softens them up, and it makes it easy to peel.
But what does it have to do with the seasoning?
Boiling is a faster way of brining.
That's what it does.
Giving that deep extended cooked taste.
Oh, Eric, this is sacrilegious.
No.
I'm sure this is not how Grandma Emma taught you how to make yams.
Diane, I'm gonna bring. No, listen. I'm gonna let you taste them.
Okay.
Right? And then when you taste them, I'm gonna tell you guys, all of you who are listening, right? Because Diane is just being straight up disrespectful. Right?
I'll tell you that yam in the far right corner, below where the spatula is, that one looked good and tasty. Now the rest of them, I don't know.
Wait a minute.
I don't know. They've got a really nice glaze to them.
Thank you, Vincent.
Yeah, the coloring is nice. It's got a nice glaze to it. It's got a nice little reserve of the actual sauce. I think they may be worthwhile.
Come on.
Oh, God. There's no parking.
Those are the yams that you would get at a soul food restaurant.
Exactly. And they never taste that good. Because they're not mushy. They're not soft enough.
They are soft. How can you tell how soft these yams are?
Because the one in the bottom middle, I can still see the ring of the yam. So that means that
the what?
The rings. The ring. When you cut it open, there's a ring. So the yams go around in rings. I can see the ring.
Yams grow like trees.
Yes.
And which one? Wait a minute. Which one is she looking at? Wait a minute. Hey, Vincent, did you post a picture? Did you post it, Vincent, so they could... The bottom right?
The bottom left. No, the bottom right is soaked enough. But the bottom left one...
You're talking about the big one? The big one?
The only one in the bottom left.
Oh, Diane, that yam is... it's gone now because I had it for dinner last night. But that yam is no more.
That yam is gone.
That
long gone.
That yam is no more. Listen, Diane...
That yam was tasty, right?
Right. So here's a deal, right? So they are soft and tender, but they're not mushy. See, because you're not trying to make sweet potato pie.
Oh yeah, no, I don't want them mushy.
Right. So they're tender, right?
They'll be nice and soft. Yeah.
They're tender yet. But
if you say that word firm, then that means they're no good.
No, I'm not saying firm. They're tender. They're tender, but they don't. So here's the deal, right? If you picked it up, if you put the fork in the middle of it and you picked it up, it's not gonna fall apart. Now, I've had yams like that, where you go and you pick it up with the fork and they just like literally fall off the fork. That's too soft.
So what you're saying is, if you poke it, it won't fall apart. Is that what you're saying?
I'm saying, you understand what I'm saying, Vincent, right? If you go to pick,
I want to make sure.
Yeah, if you go to pick it up with your fork,
you scoop a yam with your fork. So you do a side swipe. So there's a swoop because
a swoop.
Your wrist,
No.
Your wrist turns.
No.
Right.
See, I think that
when you know the yam is going to fall apart.
There you go, Vincent. Come on, Vincent. Yeah. See, now you're trying to see what you're trying to do. That's called the big yam cover up, right? Where you know you covering your yams, man, because you know you cooked them too long, and that's when you want to get a. Hey, wait a minute. That's when you get a spork, right? You get that food fork thing, because you know, because you're insecure about your yam. See, you eat my yams with full confidence.
All right, we're gonna have a yam off.
You can eat my yams with the full confidence.
Yam off this weekend and see whose yams is gonna make it to the Thanksgiving table.
Eric?
Yes, sir.
I'd be cautious of who's going to be the judge.
I'm telling you.
Well, listen, so wait a minute. See, this is where I wish we had a studio.
See, that's the setup, Eric.
What?
See, Vincent, you learn quick.
No, you know what?
My rules.
No, I'm gonna tell you, hey, Diane. Here, listen, I'm gonna trust them. I'm gonna do this.
Hey, bro, don't do it.
Nope. I'm gonna tell you what I'm gonna do, cause I'm on Team Warren, right? I'm going to make Diane, we're going to do a test, right? I'm going to put my yams in a container. You make yams, put yours in the same kind of container. We're going to give them both to Warren.
Well, first of all,
Eric, that's a
he's
law.
not going to agree with your yams for one,
There you
because
go.
he don't eat nobody else's food.
Well,
He's gonna
but-
lose right there.
But you
And
can't. No, wait a minute.
And second, no man is going to rule against the woman he sleeps with.
He won't know. That's the whole point, right? So he's not going to know. You just hand them to him. You say, hey, Warren, here.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
see, now here's the other thing. My daughter would be better at this. Warren doesn't like black food. Warren is so sick of black food that he gets annoyed when I make stuff that's collard greens and anything that's black associated. Because he's eaten it so much all his life, he said he just cannot anymore. So he's weird like that.
So your daughter, I trust her.
Yeah, my daughter.
I trust her.
My daughter and my son, they would do it.
There we go.
Yeah.
All right. So you let me know.
all right.
You let me know. I'm gonna drive my yams.
Okay.
Listen, my yam.
The cook-off will now
Listen,
begin.
I have driven my yams through 7 states. Look.
Oh God.
Well, talking about yams and food, since I'm sitting here, because I'm gonna get y'all started, and then I'm gonna place my order at the diner, and I'm going to get my food. What's on the Thanksgiving menu? Are people coming to your house? What are you
No.
doing for Thanksgiving?
No.
No.
You said no.
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 Nobody.
I might not even invite the turkey. I might not even invite. Listen. This Corona thing, man. It should have everybody spooked. They're saying now that there could be. I posted on my page up to 400,000+ deaths by March.
Oh Jesus.
Yes.
No. I'm being very serious. So wait a minute. I'm gonna pull up what I posted.
Pull it up while I place
There
my
were
food.
7,000 deaths in the last 30 days.
Yeah. So listen, hold on, where is it? This came from CNN, and I don't post a lot about from CNN, but I did post this. It said the pandemic is growing more alarming by the day. COVID-19 cases and hospitalizations are piling up at record rates, and experts fear that daily deaths may soon follow. These charts, and I didn't put the link, but I'll put the link to the charts, just show how bad it is. An influential COVID-19 model projected nearly 439,000 people could die of the virus by March 1st. Right? Okay. CNN's Dr. Sanjay Gupta called the crisis a humanitarian disaster. Chicago issued a stay-at-home advisory urging residents to leave only for essential needs and warning against Thanksgiving travel. If you're planning on visiting family, experts say you should have already started a 14-day quarantine. Dr. Anthony Fauci, too, offered advice on how to celebrate safely. Staying vigilant will be ever important in the coming weeks. Despite encouraging vaccine data, we shouldn't expect it before the end of December at the earliest. So,
Okay. So, Eric, we talked about this before with these vaccines, and I'm still very much on the fence, and I know a lot of black people are on the fence about this vaccine, about something coming out so fast.
Right.
Not that it won't work, but the fact that it comes out so fast. So
Right.
I'm in the process. I've been reading, and I don't know if you've read the book, The Immortal Life of Henrietta Lacks. And it talks about how she died of cervical cancer, but the doctor that was treating her took part of her of the cancer out of her and kept it as a test in the test tube, and that's how it ended up becoming Healox, and is used in so many different other diseases to fight polio and so many other things. But they took it without her permission, and her family didn't know, and blah blah blah, and all of that. But even as that was happening, the process of going into a doctor, trusting a doctor that gets paid by pharmaceutical companies to push their particular vaccine or drug is concerning.
Well, it should. Well, so yes, if you look at with that particular woman, when did that incident occur?
That happened she died in 1953.
Right.
So at the same time, now this is the same hospital, which was John Hopkins Hospital, was known for doing experiments on black people and black people disappearing in the community because they were using them as test dummies.
Sure.
Cadavers. No, well, they were alive. They were stealing them alive. And then the other part was this was also around the same time that the Tuskegee experiments were happening. Also pre laws when they were saying you couldn't do testing on prisoners because they didn't have the right to be able to deny or say yes for the testing. And then you move forward to, there's a few other cases, but I'm driving. I can't think.
No,
right now.
I got it. So,
yeah,
go ahead. But so here's the thing, and I said this the other day. Yes, those things happened, right? Are there still unscrupulous practices occurring? Probably, right? But I would dare say not as overt, right? And there are more safeguards to protect folks, right? But we live in a society where medicine, pharmaceutical is a business, right? So people try to, they try to capitalize, and not just black people, but all people. They look at them as being a commodity to their wealth, right? But our biggest safeguard for all of this stuff is reading, right? Research. It's not being passive, but being involved. And then I say too, in terms of all of the lawmakers, and this is important, guys. Like you can't say on one hand, oh, I'm not going to trust anything, I'm not going to do anything because those people are bad, but then you're not instrumental in trying to replace the people who you say are bad. Right? So we just had an election. We've talked for years on this show about the lobbyists for all of these special interests, including pharmaceutical, right, the medical industry, who are outnumbering our representatives down in Washington as lobbyists for those different industries, and they're actually writing the policies and handing it to our lawmakers to go ahead and pass. And they have the power to do that. Why? Because they've made huge investments in those campaigns of those lawmakers. And now they're looking for a return on their investment. So once you understand that landscape, then to push back against it, you want to have people like Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, Ayanna Pressley, AOC, right, who aren't getting their money from those industries, and who can, because they're being funded by the people, can speak for the people, right? Now you have them there protecting your interests.
Because they're actually serving.
Because they're actually serving you, right? So now you can pick the phone up and call. If you see, you got the guy in the 10th district, right? Donald M. Payne Jr., right? Do you trust to call him? Right? Go look at his elect report and see where he's getting his money from. But see, I would trust to call Ilhan or AOC or Rashida Tlaib or Ayanna Pressley and say, hey, listen, what's going on here? Is this safe? Right? Because they can speak truth to power because they aren't funded by and they don't fear those industries. See, so that's where the balance lies. So now I'm listening to the science. I'm looking at all of this stuff, and there are people there who I can trust. Right? And I would believe that if there was something deadly going on, right, dastardly going on, that Ilhan would speak out against it. I trust that Rashida would speak out against it. I trust that Ayanna Pressley, as a black woman, right, would speak out against it. So that's where my trust is right now, Diane. But the other people, no, I don't. And I think that those people are pushing back against those four and other progressives, right, who have decided not to take that dirty money.
Okay.
You understand what I'm saying? But we got to
Yeah.
get in the game, guys. Like, you can't sit and say, "Oh my God, I'm so afraid. I'm not going to do this." And then when you have an opportunity to be supportive of people who are going to take care of you, protect your interests, you sit on the sideline. You can't do that.
Right. Right.
And let's look at it right now. The squad is under attack from the, I guess, the Democratic machine. So now they're fighting for their actual existence with this new Congress that's coming in.
Yes.
And they're having to regain some more allies. One of the actual staunch Democrats, who is, probably, for lack of a better term, a Negro whisperer, has even tweeted against her, saying that, social media should be no way or avenue for a politician to gain notoriety.
Yeah.
And AOC tweeted back. She said, "Listen, in the present time, with the Democratic Party and the Democratic machine, they dominate the old maintained standards of messaging to the general public. Social media gives instant information to your supporting base to let them know your direction and doing. In this big, vast technological world, why can't we do both?"
That absolutely makes sense, and that's one of the problems that they had with Trump is he went straight to the public. He eliminated the media and saying, "Okay, well, you'll put up whatever you want to put up and talk about me, but I'm going to talk straight to my people through Twitter, and they're going to get it, and then you'll take it, and you're going to run with what I said anyway."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I think the old guard does not want you to talk to the people, of course, because they want to keep us asleep and not thinking about the possibilities.
Correct. And since the old guard controls the messaging, when someone has a new venue or a new medium of getting the messaging out, they want to stop that.
Listen, so all of that is going to shift, but we had the conversation about that too, right? We were talking about net neutrality. You see the war going on right now in terms of big tech, whether or not they are a news agency or whether they're just this harmless social media platform. But what they're saying, if they have the right to censor, right, and to edit, then they should be reclassified. Yeah.
Exactly.
As well as them pushing 5G and people still not understanding, the effects of what that may do.
True.
Well, but my thing about so this is what I would say too, guys, about the vaccine. And we talked about it during the trials, right? I mean, while they were looking for people to join the trials, that it was imperative that Black Americans get involved, because as they look to see what works and what doesn't work, right? If you don't have the representation from the Black community, then some of the data, won't be accurate when it comes to knowing what works for Black Americans, right? So so here's the thing, and then you'll complain. Right, so if they come out with a vaccine and the vaccine is based on the data that they have, which is largely from white population, and so then it doesn't work as well with a Black population, then the folks who didn't want to get involved go, "See, I told you the vaccine doesn't work. See, I told you it doesn't work." But you can't have it both ways. Right? You can't not participate, not give them the data to be able to come out with an effective vaccine for Black people, and then say the vaccine doesn't work for Black people. I mean, what are we talking? I mean, this is just stupid. I'm sorry. And I hate using that word, but it is stupid.
You have to look at that.
I don't think it's stupid, because you have to also look at other cultures. The Jewish community doesn't want to participate in these trials either, because they understand how Hitler was using these things.
But Diane, but understand this. So here's the difference with the Jewish community, right? So if you looked at if you looked at the biological makeup of the Jewish community, right? I would almost bet you that it's much closer to all of those white folks who are participating in the trials, right? Than it is to Black folks, than white folks and Black folks. And so when they come up with
biologically, the Jewish community would make a particular and very succinct makeup because of their strict dieting. The same thing with the Muslim community. They would not have a great deal of the underlying medical issues that a lot of black people would have.
Right. And so now they would benefit, right? Even if they didn't participate, they would be more apt to benefit from the vaccine that the white community participated in the research for than the black community would. Do you understand what I'm saying?
It still doesn't negate the fact that the Jewish community is not in favor of doing all of those trials.
Right. No, I'm not saying it is. I'm not suggesting that it does negate it. But I'm talking about the end result. The end result is when everybody runs for this vaccine, when all hell breaks loose and 500,000 people start dying, right? Black people are going to be at the poopy end of the stick again. Is what I'm suggesting. So we need to, and not only at the poopy end of the stick because of the underlying conditions, right? But all medical conditions, but the other underlying conditions in terms of
not being studied in the actual trial.
Yeah, well, but not having access to good health care, right? Not having the financial means to be able to get health care. All of those other things, right? So you just mix all of that up, and it just it makes a brew of disaster. Right, so so here's my suggestion. My suggestion is this: find somebody that you trust. There's got to be somebody in the medical industry, some doctor that your family went to for the last 30 years, right? Find one or two people if you can, and then sit down with them and talk to them, right? Because they'll give you the and even if they're going to tell you what they're going to tell you. I'm saying, but you can you can trust them based on having a history with them or your family having a history with them. The articles that you read, the politicians that you follow, don't have your interests, right? They are tied to special interests, the majority of them, and so they're spewing a narrative that supports whatever that special interest wants them to be in support of. So find.
Not only are those special interest people giving the politicians the money, they're giving them the literature and the, manipulated data to support their argument.
Absolutely, Vincent. So find, so locally, Dr. Chris Purnell, right? I trust her. I don't think that she has nefarious intentions, right? And so, I can call her up and talk to her about it. We didn't have her on the show. We had the CEO of UMD&J, or now Rutgers, on the show. But she would come on. I could get her to come on and to talk. But this is what I said again. So if you list your questions, this would be the most productive way to do that. List your questions and your concerns, right? Dating all the way back to all of these experiments and the harvesting of, black people, for surreptitious purposes and whatever. List all of that. And then we'll bring Dr. Purnell on, and she can answer those things. We could do a Q&A, but I think for it to be productive, right, it would be nice to have some parameters that say, we're specifically trying to address these concerns.
All right. So, anti-black yesterday.
Well, because Diane didn't. So let's kind of take Diane through some of the things because you asked the question, what is anti-black? Diane, what is anti-black?
White.
Halfway correct.
That's it. That's my answer.
Anti-black, defined in Webster, is one that contradicts or is against black. what we found in our discussion, and we talked about yesterday, is that anti-black was coined in 1936 in Cincinnati, Ohio, where a guy who ran for president twice, he was under the Liberty Party to abolish slavery, had a company called the Philanthropist, which he printed a great deal of abolition literature. And now, at this point in time, escaped slaves and free blacks migrated north. And this was at the particular time where blacks, during the post-construction or just about the construction of slavery, started coming into prominence. And now these people were competing against the whites for jobs. They now got upset because blacks had reached a huge level, had big houses, and were progressing and growing. And they started a riot. They therefore stormed every black person's house, looted the house, burnt the house, killed, shot, hurt the residents, and then went to the printing press. And the owner of the press, at the time of the riot, he wasn't home, but he returned home to see his business destroyed, his property destroyed, vandalized, and looted, and there were no police. Although the Gazette did quote the mayor saying, "Okay, folks, that's enough. I think we've done enough. These abolitionists got our message." Now, anti-black also has a level of historical foundation. The division of one against the other. In Machiavelli, The Prince. In Sun Tzu, The Art of War. And in our time, the Willie Lynch letters. And let me quote the Willie Lynch letter. "You must put the young black against the old black male. You must put the old black male against the young black male. You must put the light-skinned male, the light-skinned black against the dark-skinned black. You must pit the women against the men and the men against the women. And you must tell your overseers to never trust the words of the blacks. This will ensure and indoctrinate them into our system for hundreds of years, maybe even thousands. But most of all, as the slave owners, they must trust only us."
Well, that's the Willie Lynch letter. We discussed that many times here.
Mm-hmm. Yes, but the Willie Lynch letter has incited and gives a great insight of the anti-black, not only against, but because we find that the anti-black movement for black people, with white people, it are things like the white supremacy groups, the white nationalists, like the Klan, the Proud Boys, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But the main basis of their anti-blackness is the simple fact that they are resisting against the black agenda of progression and growth.
Wouldn't you be?
Right.
If you
So exactly.
want the people below you to take it away?
So I'm listen. Here's where our issue is. Our issue is that we want somebody else to relinquish some of the power or influence or leverage that they have. Right? As opposed to us focusing on how to take what is ours. Right? Mm-hmm. So we need to shift that paradigm. Right? I don't care. See, you know what it reminds me of? I'm going to talk about football for a second. Who was the coach of the 49ers who came up with the whole West Coast offense? Walsh, right? Remember Walsh used to script plays, right? He had 16 plays that he would script before each game. And he ran those plays irrespective of what the other team was going to do. He had the plays already lined out, so he wasn't being dictated to by what that team did. He said, this is what we're going to do. Right? And we believe in ourselves so much that I'm going to write these 16 plays down. We're going to run these 16 plays. And at the end of that, we're going to have the game plan for the rest of the game. Right? I'm saying, let's forget about them. Let's put our playbook together based on what it is that we want to do. Let's look at our strengths, our weaknesses, our opportunities, and our threats. And then based on that, that's a SWOT analysis, guys. Based on that SWOT analysis, make a determination about a move forward strategy for Black Americans. And then move.
Based upon the Walsh and the SWOT analysis and the Willie Lynch letter. Now, we know that there is a great deal of malfeasance and injustice of anti-black, which consists of white. What's the biggest thing that people don't realize is that the largest assault of anti-black is not white people. It's in the black community.
Well, but we talk about that too, in the Negro Whisperers and the Slave Catchers, right? So, right, which is all part of the construct that has been put in place by, you know, things like the Willie Lynch letters, right, and the making of a slave, right, that kind of talks about this hierarchical structure in order to maintain the economic and political power of the corporation of white supremacy, right? That you have to have this layer of Negro Whisperers and slave catchers that keep those who might want to rise up in the slave quarters at bay, like, right?
But now they've done that so much that now they have actually became an official disorder.
Oh, they have become
anti-self disorder.
You just described the Biden administration. You just described what we.
Thank you.
The first 100-day plan.
Yeah, well, of course, in the anti-self disorder. In fact, the senior advisor of the Biden administration was on today talking about that. But and the anti-self disorder is basically what you call the Negro Whisperers, the ones who side always with the oppressor. And they said that is normally due to a survival mode of conforming to meat. But also there is the part of the disorder is this. They believe that it's better to be a pet than it is to be their food.
You just described the election of Biden versus Trump.
Right.
We're voting him out. I don't care what he does or doesn't do. We're voting for Biden because Trump has to go. You just...
Yeah.
Yes. But Trump had to go because of the simple, if Trump did anything that could have actually kept people alive, or any policy or procedure that could have moved the needles, I don't think that he would have had that resistance. Blacks would have did the same thing that they did with Hillary Clinton, not vote.
It wouldn't have mattered, because if you go back to the presidential debates, there were other options up there, and people still chose the white man.
That's absolutely right.
There were more qualified women, black, white. There was an Asian man up there, more qualified. They still chose the white man.
Right. And so and to that point, Diane, so for all of the people now, right, who are parading around, hoisting up Kamala Harris, right? Why not choose her?
Kamala Harris worked well between both the white and black, because Kamala Harris was therefore, quote unquote, white approved, which means for the Negro Whisperers and the slave catchers, she was palatable.
No, but to Diane's point, why not just make her president? See, so back again, right? Because we're conditioned that we say, no, we're going to accept that. We're gonna accept that. So the false choice was always the fact that you get to choose, when in fact we really didn't get to choose, right? We were choosing a white man, an old white man. So we were told that we were liberated and given an opportunity to choose, but they set up a dynamic that left us with the same thing, a white man. Caller, go.
Mm-hmm. But part of it, before the caller goes, part of the thing that you will see, the person suffering from the anti-self disorder, is the person who always brags about they're the only black in their neighborhood. They have this. They're the only.
No, I disagree with you on that. I think that the people who suffer from the anti-black disorder.
To discourage or destroy other blacks from reaching that level.
No. See, that's overt, right? But there was something more subtle, right, in the anti-black, and some of those anti-blacks were people who were not talking so overtly about it, right? But were a little more subtle. And still pushing people to vote against their interests. See, anytime that you're getting somebody to go against their interests. No. See, those are the overt ones, right? I'm saying that there are other people who were telling people to vote against their interests by saying to them, hey, vote for the lesser of two evils. That's voting against your interests. Call or go.
Okay, you guys are going to have to give me a minute. I'll be right back. Good morning, it's Jody. Hold on.
All right. So.
Wait a minute, I got one better for you so everybody can laugh at me. I finally got my pancakes. I got to my office. I don't have my office keys. I'm going.
Diane, it is truly the start of Not Your Day.
Hey Diane, you know
So
what?
God is telling me to go home. I'm going home.
Listen, given the day that you're having, I would just get out of the car and get an Uber. I would even
Drive home, get in the bed, and
Yeah.
don't leave. Take a mental health day and enjoy your pancakes.
Yeah. So,
And to think, I planned on getting so much done today.
But yeah. So
Okay.
anti-black. See, so we have
You
to.
talking about not avert? So did you say Byron? Okay, go ahead, Jody.
So here's the thing. So I think that the biggest problem now is us, right? And I get it, Eric. I get that you feel like we were left into this election. But when you talk about, when we get at Vincent and say, hey, it's over, right? Stop talking about Trump, right? That's kind of how I feel about the conversation about Kamala Harris. We've seen, in my opinion, and this is just my opinion, we've seen there's been a lot of rhetoric on social media. How black is she? Is she black enough? Can we claim that she is not black because she's of Indian and Asian descent? When we don't really pay attention to the fact that that enemy that you talk about and that enemy that's so up against us, right? They just see her as black. They don't get into the intricate details of her ancestry, right? It was much like when Obama ran. Those were black people. I heard black people most often saying he wasn't black or he wasn't black enough. And then strange enough, at the end of it, it was he didn't do nothing for black people. I think that we have become our greatest enemy. I think that the fact that we don't, that women aren't, black women specifically, right, aren't lifting up this woman. I don't want to get into what is a woman of color or a colored woman, because that's not how they see us, right? That's how we see us. We've taken that Willie Lynch scenario, right, and we've used it against one another. We've done the light skin, dark skin thing. We as women have said horrible things about each other. We don't support each other. And now we're actually having a conversation about Joe Biden, that we voted for this white guy as if that was against our interests, right? Ignoring the black woman that's on the ticket because she's not quite black enough. And that is an anti-self disorder. And that messaging is kind of dangerous. Just my opinion.
Right. So there. So wait a minute. Wait, Vincent. Wait, Vincent. Wait. But there were a couple there because you put a lot in there, Jody. So one of the things that I think that we have to do as Black Americans, right, is we have to identify what is it to be a Black American, right? And just because somebody has the same skin color as I do doesn't make them a Black American. And we have to be able to say that. We have to be able to say, yes, there may be some things that you can do to help aid us in our struggle to achieve whatever it is our goal is. And I say it should be economic and political power, right? But I'm clear, and we're all clear, that you're not a Black American. There should be nothing wrong with that, right?
So tell me, right?
But wait a minute. Let me. So it's just like a Jew may be trying to achieve something, or a Jewish community may be trying to achieve something, and they need to go and network with somebody outside of the Jewish community to get that done. But they never, ever mistake the fact that that person that they've networked with is a Jew. They go, no, you're not, but you can be helpful. I'm sorry, I can't, Jody, I can't. Your audio is
Breaking up.
Yeah.
Okay, so Judaism, right, or Jews, right? That's more religious based than it is color.
I'm not. Well, yeah, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
It's an actual nation, and it is a part of. They are discriminated,
right?
Because we talked with the rabbi yesterday.
Yeah.
They do have their level of discrimination,
right?
Even within themselves,
each other, right?
But
Yeah.
like I say, right, amongst each other. You tell me the last time you heard some Hasidic Jews or some Orthodox Jews start screaming on national television or on social media about how Jewish are you, right? When there's white leadership, I've never heard someone say, well, he's too Irish or he's too European. They just move as a body, right? And that body is able to be powerful because it's moving as a body. Where we are actually saying to this woman that the whole entire gay community is like, she's black. So we're on social media saying, well, she's not quite black. Or is she black enough? Or is she where does that
Well, but wait a minute.
But most of us, I'm not an African American. I am.
Well, Jody, that's
someone African American, right?
But Jody, that is.
But Jody, that's not true. That's not completely true because American made the description as who was classified as white. When Polish people first came and Italian people came and everybody else, they and Portuguese still to this day, they see themselves as Portuguese. Everybody else calls them white. Because that's the category that the white man has described as to who decides to be a part of the white class. So it's no different in the black community.
And the part of the Willie Lynch letter that we've seen very in the face of America was the simple fact of, even within the black community, the back and forthing of this person doesn't represent me because I don't consider them to be black. They look at this person as light-skinned black. I don't consider them to be black. Yet, in terms of the corporation of supremacy, you're all considered.
Right, but I
one against the other.
Right, I think you still have. I don't know. I mean, I guess maybe there's some the light skin, dark skin thing. I know that was prevalent. Back in.
It is. It still is.
Right.
It still is. Because Dr. Wright said that too.
Example, I had my daughter's girlfriend, one of her friends from elementary school, they had just put out the dark skin documentary not too long ago, and she went on to talk about how she felt as a child, and this is a girl that's 27, how she felt as a child because she was dark skinned, how she felt ugly, how she felt that.
Oh no, I agree with that piece. No, I agree. No.
In her own community.
No, I agree with that. Look, I agree with that piece, right? But what I'm asking is this: that it within, because yes, we have been imaged to believe that dark skinned is ugly, light skinned is better,
Pure,
right? Is more palatable.
But we've been imaged to believe that dark skin is ugly.
Well, that's what I just said, Vincent.
And
Right.
the big lips were huge, and the big breasts and the big butts.
Right.
But yet the cosmetology industry is a $1 trillion
Right.
industry, and
I got
what
it.
you're getting is darker skin,
Right.
big lips,
No,
big hips.
but that's not where I was going with this. Where I was going with this is this. My question is within the black community, are black people looking at light-skinned people, right, and saying that they're not black Americans?
Well, they didn't in the '60s. If you look at Huey Lewis.
No, I'm asking now. No, I'm asking now. Right now, is that so? I understand the dynamic of acceptance into certain circles by the corporation white supremacy, right? Because they pit light against dark, and so they give greater favoritism. And I think I talked about this on a couple shows about my own children, right? Because all of them are light skinned, right? And my daughter Lucy, who's one of my more radical down in Philly, she talks about her darker skinned sisters, not biological sisters, but her sisters in the struggle, right? And how she personally witnesses doors opening for her because of her complexion versus those same doors not opening for her sisters in the struggle, and it infuriates her. But my question is, do you believe that those darker skinned black American women view her, meaning my daughter, as not being black.
Yes. So here's the point. That's my whole entire point, right? Because we focused on it, right? If so, I guess me and Diane can have this conversation, right? My daughter is 10 shades lighter than me, right?
You got to talk a little louder, Jody.
So my daughter talked about, and she's 13, so she's in the 8th grade, right? How darker skinned girl treats her unkindly, or just make that assumption that she thinks she's better than
Got it.
because she's lighter, right? And so they kind of group up at that age, at 13 years old. They're already using or talking or behaving in a way that one is better than the other. That is because we're questioning Kamala Harris.
No. But you're not answering my question, Jody. You're not answering my question, though. I understand the distinction of saying, even if you said that the lighter skinned Black American is not sharing in the same American experience as the darker skinned Black American, right? But I'm asking, so I understand the distinction between the experiences, right? But my question that I'm asking is,
experiences are going to be different, right? Because listen, your daughter is correct, right? But we already know that, right? We already know that that, let's say, corporation of white supremacy, right? If she walks through the door before Diane and I, that they feel just a little more comfortable.
Right.
Her skin is a little.
I got that.
So we'll accept her a little bit. We'll accept her a little quicker,
right?
Because her skin's a little lighter. And I always felt like it was with the hope that there was some mixing of the race and that they could, right? But she's still a Black woman. That's why I got so infuriated the other day. But that is that scenario. What I'm saying is, I would argue that we give that to them because, listen, they see our behaviors. Hey, if the corporation of white supremacy is as strong as you're saying it is, they're studying our behavior.
But here's the question I want to ask you about Kamala Harris, and here's where we are. What is Kamala Harris's lineage? What is her lineage, Jody? What is Kamala Harris's lineage?
So her lineage is Indian and Asian and guess what? I bet you, because I saw this the other day.
Jamaican.
I bet you if we looked at it, it's a lot more mixed up than that. But I bet you are too, and so am I.
Well,
No. But what I can tell you very, very specifically, right? Very specifically, is that I have ancestors who were brought here and enslaved, right? So when I ask you very specifically what Kamala Harris's lineage is to America, right? I say that I am a Black American, and I say that I am ADOS, right? So when I'm having the conversation about Kamala Harris, I'm saying, you know what? We share the same skin color, but our lineage is different. And what I'm saying is, when we have the conversation, we have to first get on this on that page, right? That everybody is not a Black American, right? Everybody is not. And so I'm not saying that you can't participate in the struggle of different things, but we have to, I think anyway, that we have to be clear. And there's a discussion about, well, where is her lane? And even if you listen to the news now, they're talking about whether or not she's going to take on these issues of poverty and such in India because of her lineage. Right? They're having those conversations.
Because of Biden's lineage in Ireland, they were having a celebration for him in the election.
Right.
And hoping that he can actually...
Exactly. So I'm saying I want lineage. And I shouldn't be, and I should be correct in that. I'm not criticizing those folks who don't even live in this country, saying, hey, because there's a tie, we're expecting something from Kamala, right, in India. or in Ireland. We're expecting something from Biden. I'm going, well, she shares no lineage with me.
Of course, yet she does not. But therefore, in terms of the corporation of white supremacy, she does represent.
No, I'm not.
And as Obama, and let's look at Obama. He was Italian and African, yet still considered by white supremacists to be black.
But you missed my point earlier where I said I got what they do. I got what they do. We have to be in control of what we can control, right? So we have to set some boundaries. We have to set some rules, right? And then we have to govern based on the ones we set. If we're continuing to be reactive to what the corporation of white supremacy does, right? So, oh, they do this, so then we got to do this. Oh, they do this. I'm going, look, we already understand some things, right? We've been in this game for 400 plus years now. Right, we understand some things. So
here's the boundaries and the rules that we have set within the 400 years. You know what it's called? The paper bag rule. Where there were certain groups and clubs, if you were darker than a paper bag, you weren't in it.
That's fine. So, Eric, let me ask you this question.
Yes, ma'am.
Wait, what if? Well, let me put out a scenario.
Mm-hmm.
What if people started questioning your children's lineage because you're a black American,
right?
Their mother wasn't a black American.
That's correct.
What if black folk got right down to the fact that they're not going to say that your baby is a black American because the lineage is so different.
No. Right.
The answer you is.
So here's the thing.
I don't want to get on a high horse, but that's why I'm trying to be fair about it, right? But the high horse would be, right? Are we now going to start behaving like they behave? Are we now going to start doing our own people like they do us, right?
We do that.
To say, no, that's ready, and that's wrong, right? So where do we start? When your baby, right? When your baby comes into a room, trust and believe. There are black people, especially black women, are looking at her and saying she's not black enough, right? They don't know who her daddy is, right? And how incredible he is, right? And they don't know the dad and how incredible he was and the fight that you've done and moved the needle forward for black people. They just look at her face, they look at her color, they look at her hair, and they say, she's not black enough, right? If you don't want that to happen, then you have to be the person that stops that from happening. Then you say, I don't care about Kamala Harris. She is born and raised in this country. She is perceived by you as a Negro,
right,
every day, all day.
Right.
And
so
that we're going to take that time and let her say. Now, if she fails us, right?
Wait a minute, Vince. She's asking me a question. Vincent, she's asking me a question, and I want to respond to it. So Jody, this is what I'm gonna say about my daughter, right? So we talk lineage, right? So if those people dared to have a conversation with her, then what she would say to them is that my great grandfather was a slave, right? They buried him up to his neck and they unleashed dogs on him, right? So now for anybody who may have had a question based on her complexion, right? Because the complexion doesn't define the lineage, right? So now you say, well, what is your lineage? And now when she said that to them, right, it should be a different conversation that they're now having. So I don't necessarily.
You know how we've been doing. Know why? Because Obama said, my daddy's from Africa, as black as.
No. I'm talking about a claim here as a black American. I'm not. And see, this is why, Jody, remember my transformation from being African American to being black American? See, because it clears up some stuff. See, I'm making a claim here as a black American, right? With a very specific right based on how this country treated my ancestors, right? And so once we drill down to that, I say, here's my claim and here is why. And so when I look at an Obama, I say, you can't make that claim. When I look at a Kamala Harris, I say, you can't make that claim. So I'm saying we have to be clear about some things. And we've been scattered. And see, and just like Mr. Lang said, and I continue to, no, Mr. Lang, the Chinese guy, I continue to, and I posted this, he said, listen, he said, part of the challenge is that, he said, Chinese love Chinese. We don't hate anybody else. We just love the Chinese. I'm saying, see, black Americans, I don't hate Kamala Harris, or I don't hate Obama. I just want to love black Americans, right? And I want to then say, okay, now I get, you may be able to help us get some stuff, or you may be able to network with us to get some things, but I always want to be clear, not dilute black Americans. That's it. That's it. And we've been conditioned to believe that saying something like that is divisive, is mean-spirited, is radical in a negative way. And I'm saying, no, I just love black Americans. I want to find more black Americans and I want to hug them.
Here is the part, Eric, in which maybe part of the Willie Lynch letter and the divisiveness causes this. Black America always have to defend their blackness.
Well,
because
listen.
We are so divided that light-skinned people have to defend the simple fact that, I'm still black. That people, black America in corporate world, who dress like this, have to come home and defend the simple fact that they are still black. That we are always, that black American women who have straight hair have to defend the simple fact that they are black. Because there is always something that is pitted up against us that's coming from the black people. We are constantly not being able to take on the larger issues in the black agenda because we're still dealing with the petty fight of defending that we're still black.
Yeah, listen, I would argue, right, that even when your daughter could give she could give that history of her grandfather, they're still going to say, but your mama is white.
Absolutely.
So that is a programming, Eric. Listen.
Oh, I agree with you.
So, right, this is the thing. That has to, in my opinion, so these are just my opinions, right? That has to be stomped out, right? Because I know, right, us that know a little more, or a little more, we just shit. We know, right? I know that your daughter is black. I'm not taking out her lineage because I don't have a problem with her mother being white, right? Because I take her as how they see her, how that enemy sees her, right? So I'm gonna stand with her based on how they see her, and I'm gonna say she's black. And there should be no question about that because I'm saying my community should stand beside your daughter 20,000 times a day, all day long, as she's black because we have to fight for her against them, right? But if we pick and choose, if we start cherry picking who we gonna stand with, right? Then we gonna
No, you see, but here's where you're missing. But Jody, here's where you're missing what I'm saying. Listen, I have no issue standing with anybody who stands for black Americans. So let's take Kamala Harris, right? If Kamala Harris said, listen, I'm not ADOS, I'm not black American, I'm this, that, and the other. However, I want to link arms with black Americans and I want to fight for this, then I'm 100% with you. She could be Jewish and say that, and I'm 100% with them too. I'm not with you I'm not with you if you're not with me. And that's it. So when she was on a Breakfast Club, and I listened very closely when she was asked by a foundational Black American, what specifically do you have for Black people? And she said, for Black people specific, I got nothing specific for Black people. That's when my spidey senses went up, right? So it's not about. So I look and go, well, see, she can't. But she wanted to, at the same time that she was doing that, wrap herself in
The black
in the Black experience. So I'm looking, going, hey, no, I want to make it very clear. She's not. Nope. This is what she is. We share this. I want to just break it down, right? And this is why she's not saying this. Now, if you brought me in there, yeah, I'm talking now. I wouldn't have been elected, right? But I would have been saying, yeah, I got some very specific things for Black people. Why? Because of my lineage, because of my tie, because of my experience. And I'm going, no, she doesn't. And I acknowledge she doesn't. And like Maya Angelou says, when people show you who they are, believe them. So I'm going, okay, I got it. Here's your lineage. Here's what you said. I understand that. I got to move on.
Well, okay. The other thing that has to come into effect in qualifying, because what we do as Black Americans, we qualify them as the standard of what we hold to a standard of Blackness, which in terms of that qualification, it varies from every Black person that you talk to.
I don't understand. What are you saying? Explain that, though.
Qualification is that they don't qualify to support. They qualify as a means of rationalizing and excusing why they don't support.
Well, I didn't understand. I didn't understand that. So I mean,
I do. That's the problem. Go ahead, Victor.
So in doing that, that is why we refuse, or we cannot move the needle, because within our own selves, within our own community, even though we don't consider ourselves to be one or the other, in which the enemy, the corporation of white supremacy, considers us to be that, we therefore have that little hierarchy where we have to qualify, disprove, or not prove, and not support. One of the big reasons that Black businesses fail is because people qualify them as not being true Black or too Black, and they don't support them. One of the big reasons why we see Black politicians go to the white people is because of their education, background, meaner, color, whatever the case may be. They are now qualified as not Black, and they don't support them or give them money for their campaign. And that is one of the big things that kills the black being monolithic and supports everything written in the Willie Lynch letters.
So, what? I guess what? Again,
So I think you're saying, right, that we dismiss each other, right? That we put it out there. And I hate to agree with Victor, okay? But we put it out there. We start doing the quantifying and qualifying of who is Black and who is not quite Black, and we treat them accordingly, right? And I get it, right? I get that we are in a space where we must stand up for our people. I get that you are AGOS and you have a Black agenda. I get that. What I'm saying to you is because you're smart enough, right, and you're bright enough to not fall for messaging, and you're smart enough to know that it's so complicated where we are and who we are and who's Black and who's Black enough, right? You can do it, but there's some ignorance in our community, right? Listen, when you put up a picture of Kamala Harris with Ruby Bridges and a Black woman says she shouldn't be in that picture because Ruby Bridges was this and she is that is, to me, that is ignorant. To me, that if it was a white woman in a picture with Ruby Bridges and she had the Black agenda, she could stand with her toes. We can't continue to be what we accuse other people of being. We can't, if we continue down this road of who is Black enough and who could stand for us or who we're going to accept as one of us, then we just have
so there are differences. Wait, but Jody, here's the difference.
Who who we are.
But Jody, so there are a couple things that you're saying again. Jody, there are a couple things that you're saying again, right? So one is, are you black enough? Okay, Vincent, please. So one is, are you black enough? One is, who's going to stand for us, right? And I think that those are different things. Those are distinctly different things, right? So to ask the question, are you a black American, should not be an off-limit question. It shouldn't be. You should be able to ask that question and get an honest answer. Are you a black American? And now here's the other question. What is the definition? Right? So we have to. I think we need to define what a black American is. Right? Because I think that we're skewed on that definition. Right? So once we're clear on the definition, right? Then you say, are you this? And that shouldn't be offensive. Right? And now outside of that, whether you are or not, do you stand for us? Because there are some black Americans, right, who don't stand for things that are in the best interests of black America.
Oh, you mean like Cameron, the Attorney General in Kentucky?
Right. Right. So we should be able to sift through all of that, right? So yeah, you can have a black American who is as dangerous to black America as as a white person who doesn't stand for black America, right? I'm clear on that. But I'm gonna look and go, that's a white American who doesn't care for the best interests of black America, and I can look and go, that's a black American who doesn't care for the best interests of black America. I don't want to say that's just an American who doesn't care.
Both of them qualify as anti-black.
As anti-black, right? I'm cool with that, but I should be able to say that's a black American who is anti-black, or
yes,
right? And so, but how do you?
And the whole thing that Jody is trying to say is this. Those people who do not support blacks because you qualify them to dismiss them, you are still qualifying, you are still fitting into the category of anti-black.
Really? So if wait a minute.
When you pick and choose excuses not to follow because of the color of their skin. And
no, it's not the color of their skin. Stop it. It's not. No. See, this is a difference, and we got to get to this. It's not about the color. It's not about the color of their skin. It is about lineage. And we have to have the conversation about lineage, right? See, this is the miseducation. We have to have the conversation about lineage, not the color of skin. See, and forget about what you call
lineage. When we have a conversation about lineage, isn't that about qualifying the color of their skin?
No, it's about lineage.
So Eric, you know what I would argue this.
Wait a minute, Jody. I want you to make your point, but I want to stay on what Vincent just asked. He asked the question. He said, "Isn't having a conversation about the color of your skin having a conversation about lineage?" So Vincent, so if you got slaves on a plantation and a white man rapes this woman and she gives birth to light-skinned children, right? Is that child's lineage?
Calm down, because on the screen you're turning into a ghost.
Right? Is the lineage of that child any different than the lineage of the other one that's darker on that plantation?
Well, that depends on the individual that's looking at their lineage.
No, I'm not talking. No, this has nothing to do with the individual.
You're asking me the question.
It has nothing to do with the individual. What does lineage mean? Give me the definition of lineage.
Eric, all that is just a sidebar, which gets away from me answering the question.
What is the definition of lineage?
You mean the actual...
Yes, I'm not going to let you bastardize this. What is the definition of lineage?
Distinguishes from who they come from?
What is it?
In terms of lineage, in terms of ancestry?
Yes. So what does that have to do with somebody's interpretation versus what it is?
No, Eric, what I'm saying about that is that when you are looking at lineage, you're looking at a reason to qualify them, to dismiss them, because some people don't feel as though they...
Now you're off on some other tangent. Now you're off on some other...
They won't represent us.
Go ahead, Jody.
So one, right? So that's my grandmother, right? My mom's mom is the child of a master raping his slave, right?
Mm-hmm.
And nobody better not ever question my blackness.
There you go.
Nobody better not, and nobody could have ever questioned my mother's blackness. But that's not far removed. That wasn't my great grandmother. My grandmother, my mother's mother, was the child of a slave raping, right? And nobody can question my blackness. And I'm not trying to specify, I'm not trying to quantify or qualify what I am. I am a black woman living in this country, and so was my grandmother, and so is your daughter.
That's
right.
One.
The other thing is, when you said about Kamala and your spidey senses, because she was asked, what does she have for black people? I would argue that, and this is not in defense of Kamala. You tell me the last time they asked a white woman running for office what she had for black people, right? And I would even say that to her fault, Kamala, right? I'm sure that question was answered because we always have to go around, especially a woman, right? And be like, we have to walk that line and be so cautious and careful, right? That when you ask me that question, I have to know that you're asking me that question because I'm black, or you perceive me as black, right? So I say, I'm running for the president of this country. No, I don't have anything specific for black people, right? That was her bad, but I am positive that it wasn't coming from a place of, I ain't got nothing for black people because I ain't that black and I ain't black at all. It was coming from a political argument that, why are you asking me what I have because I'm a black woman? Why do I have to answer the question
Jody,
for the entire black community?
Jody, in 2016, they asked Hillary Clinton what she had specifically for the black community. They certainly did. They certainly did.
And she had to answer, right?
She had a bottle of hot sauce in her bag. That's what she had. She had pandering. That's what she had. But they asked her, and she came with a whole bunch of pandering.
But that's a lose-lose because it would be pandering if she said anything and political.
No. I'm simply saying no. All I'm getting at is this: that she was asked what she had for Black America, and because Hillary Clinton didn't have an answer, right? 1.4 million black people stayed home, so she was asked. They heard the answer and they decided to sit on their hands in that election. So let us be clear. She was asked. So Kamala Harris was then followed up because, and understand why she was asked, Jody, because she wrapped herself in blackness. Right? She wasn't just a black candidate. She wrapped herself in black, as did Cory Booker. Right? He wanted the entire black experience. He talked about how gunshots were going off on his street, how he was the mayor of this urban city that was dealing with all these issues. He came out with all of this blackness wrapped around him. And so, yes, then we go, well, okay, if you're going to use that, if you're going to use it, then I want to know, what are you going to do?
And what he said was, I'm going to keep, or basically what he said is, I'm going to keep peddling the pharmaceutical people who are trying to get me elected.
Yes.
But moving on, Diane, you were saying something. I was trying to catch it.
So to go back to what Kamala Harris said when she was running for president, she talked about this $100 billion plan for black home ownership. But that was back in 2019. But as the time progressed and she realized that she wasn't going to be president, and then she was I guess knighted
from Biden
to be the vice president, she no longer spoke about that. She only talked about what his 100-day plan was, which we talked about yesterday, which did not really have anything specifically for closing the wealth gap for black Americans. His whole plan speaks to more of foreign policy. It speaks to immigration, but it does not speak directly to black Americans.
Right. And here's what Kamala said.
Him working with the criminal justice system. Right. Is that black American enough for us? I don't know.
And here's what Kamala said, too.
He had his senior advisor on today, who was a black woman who was really talking about his plan addressing black poverty level, black businesses, etc.
Right, but here's one of the things that that disturbed me, because what she said was, and this is Kamala. She said, you know, whatever I do, it's going to impact everybody, including Black Americans, right? So her thing, she kind of took the, you know, rising tides will lift all boats, right? So if I do this thing, it's gonna be beneficial to everybody, right? Including.
But isn't that more messaging? I mean, and signaling. I mean, isn't it the simple fact that, you know, isn't that not the simple fact of saying that you cannot say that I am going to be the black experience of America, but I am going to represent all America, and with them having the underlying theory that she's going to do something special for Black America?
No, that's her pandering.
I do believe that.
Saying that we're going to take care of you guys. Don't worry about it. We won't isolate black people and do anything for them that we're not going to do for you first.
Right, and so for me, what that
was a stretch. Diane, you just stretched it, right?
No.
All Vincent is saying is, listen, and I believe that should be the message, and maybe I'm like a little, I don't know, a little too loving and in this kumbaya moment, but that should be the messaging to me.
What
you do is how we will see you as a community, right? But when you are running on that big stage, right, and you are running not for, listen, I had this conversation with somebody yesterday, arguing back and forth about this, right? And I said to the person, listen, you attacking Kamala, right? But you just put up a post the other day giving the mayor of North kudos for giving more lines than ShopRite. Now, he done poisoned the people with dirty water. He has harassed black women in City Hall like crazy. He's allowed so much damage, but you feel like you needed to say kudos to the mayor because he gave us more lines than ShopRite. But you're attacking this woman based on she not black enough, or you don't want the representation of her holding Ruby Bridges. I was then called emotional. Oh, that's an emotional answer. No. Emotional. I've been down that rabbit hole before. Not me today. It's or whatever you want to call it, Baraka, right? He poisoned black children and lied about it. He continues to lie. He continues to rape the city, and now we're talking about properties and the total disrespect for the whole entire community. Mm-hmm. But we're going to give him some kudos because there was only 2 lines open in ShopRite, and now it's 10. And we're going to say thank you. And you're going to say that, and this is what was said to me, well, you can't be mad at him forever. I'm supposed to be mad at him for the rest of my life. If he poisoned children and gave dirty water, I don't care if he green, orange, yellow, or blue. Right. He should be linked. So
Jody, you just so that's my point exactly, right? So I can look at Ras Baraka, right, and say that he is a black American, right? But I can say that Ras Baraka, by all of his actions, functions as an anti-black American, right? That
elected by Black America, yet working against their best interests.
Right, that's right. So I recognize the lineage, right? And then I hold him accountable for his actions. So I could do both of those things, right? And I can say, hey, look, we need to go and we need to correct this. So he's not, and I could also look at somebody who's not like the rabbi who was on the show yesterday, Vincent, and say, okay, you know what? This rabbi is helping in our struggle, right? I recognize that he's not a black American, but he, to date, understands and listens to these things and is willing to be helpful. So I can accept that help, right? While rejecting this black American Ras Baraka because he's acting in a very anti-black American way. So we have to be nuanced enough as black Americans to be able to do that.
But that's the whole thing. In terms of us voting against our self-interest, us disqualifying and quantifying people because of simple things goes against our interests. Yet we will vote for, quote unquote, the white man who says that I'm not anti-black. In fact, I'm going to do some pro-black messaging so that you can elect me. But yet we discount and disqualify voting for the black man because he's not saying that I'm in the White House, fight the power. He's got his clutched fist and saying that I'm going to do everything I can in my power for Black America, knowing that that's political suicide.
Right. So back to I want to talk about
9 minutes.
Yeah, I want to talk about Ras Baraka a little bit more right now about the this whole COVID-19 thing. I've been speaking to business owners in Newark, and they're terrified right now, right? Because they don't they don't have a plan, right? Other than this kind of gunshot or shotgun buckshot thing, right? And I said this a couple weeks ago based on the data that I was seeing coming out of the East Ward of Newark. Shut down those businesses, penalize those owners. But see, those owners in the East Ward have a different kind of privilege in Newark. See, they have a different kind of privilege in Newark, and so this is one of those instances where they say, "See, well, we're gonna do this for everybody. We're gonna make everybody so that you don't single them out because of the privilege that they have." No, they need to be singled. They need to be singled out because of the harm they've caused. You see, and you need to have the courage to do that. And not penalize these other businesses that followed your rules. They followed what you said. They social distance. They had their people wear masks. That's why the hell they didn't have spreading up there in the West Ward or in the Central Ward. And because of the special relationship that the businesses in the East Ward had, that's why they could stick their finger up at you and thumb their nose at you, because they knew you weren't going to do anything. And so they had the super spreader events down there. That is the truth. And now when it all shakes out, there'll be no resources for those black businesses in the Central Ward, in the South Ward, and the West Ward that are going to be shuttered. But guess what? Because of the special relationship that the East Ward has with you, you'll make resources available for them to reopen.
Well, clear, it's not a special relationship. This is a race war. Because of the people that live and operate the businesses in that ward, they're getting privileges that they have already and always gotten for a long time by all the mayors. It's a race war. It's the blacks, it's the non-blacks, whether they're Portuguese, Ecuadorian, wherever they are from, that are living in that area. They get privileges that we do not get. They double park. They park up on sidewalks. They do all kinds of stuff down there.
Wow.
Oh, they used to do that and Diane's not lying, when my family had a business. We had a business, 3 blocks from the East Ward. We were right on Commerce Street, right off of Mulberry Street, a bar and lounge. The police officers would frequently come through there and ticket cars that were double parked. And yeah, they shouldn't have been, I guess, right? But you go down to Adega Lounge, right? And I can name some other places. You go down to those other places, and cars were double and triple parked, including police cars that were going into those places getting their food.
They would say it. They would be 24 hours double parked.
Wow.
Listen, do you not remember this? Eric, you're going to remember this. When we found out under Cammie's administration that some of those restaurants were using the parking lot of school buildings during the weekend and weren't paying that fee that everyone else was paying. If you want to use the school parking lot, then you had to go through facilities. They weren't going through facilities, getting the permit. They were just parking there. So when Cammy came in and locked those gates, and one weekend, it took 1 weekend that they couldn't use that parking lot, all hell broke loose in North Public Schools. And when it was done and said, those locks were taken off those school buildings, and they were back to using those parking lots, and they were not given permit. It is about color.
Yeah.
Anti-black.
Yes.
Yet the biggest anti-black is the black who stands in your way of your progression and growth. Those who do everything in their power to make sure that you fail, behind the simple fact of jealousy of you not moving the needle or going one step above them.
Well, you know what? I'm not gonna say that they're the biggest anti-black. I'm gonna say that, I'm gonna say they're the sneakiest. Maybe not even the sneakiest, but they're the one that you really have to, because of our experience, right? The black experience in a hostile America, we have an idea of what our enemy looks like, right? And so we're ready for that. But it's heartbreaking, right? Disappointing. We can come up with a whole bunch of other adjectives to describe it. When you find out that it is a black American, right? But that's why we have the conversations, and we have to have them about Negro whisperers and slave catchers, and we have to be more courageous in pointing them out, right? So that we can discard them, and then we can move forward. Again, we have to have our plan, and part of our plan has to be the discarding of these Negro whisperers and these slave catchers. But listen, we're closing into being out of time. But this anti-black thing we have to continue to discuss. I think we need to codify language around what is what is black, what is black American, what is all of these things, and not be and like I said, I'm trying to be less anti other things and just more black American, right? And so if it seems as though I'm anti the other stuff, I'm really not. I'm just throwing all my love here because my love is needed here, right? My love is needed here, and then I want you.
But Eric, one of the things that the panel said yesterday that really breaks home in terms of how do we stop the anti-blackness is that one of the things that you see in blacks being anti-black has a lot to do with their own self-esteem. Learn to love yourself first.
Right.
Love your family first.
But wait a minute, Vincent, but to your point, right? When I'm doing that, so when I'm saying, that's exactly what I just said to you, right? So you said, love yourself first, self-esteem. So I'm going, I'm wrapped up in my blackness. I'm wrapped up in my.
Accommodate you for that.
Right? No. But then when that love that I'm expressing is questioned, right? And then I'm sitting and I'm defending it, right?
But Eric, you have to defend sometimes because you do get into some real tough love.
No, right. But at the same time, you say, you should have a healthy self-esteem, right? You should love yourself. So I'm going, this is what it is. This is what it looks like. But here's the ramification of doing it. Right? That you're going to be questioned, that you're going to be challenged, that you're going to be radicalized, that you're going to be those things. But you got to push through it. Like Mr. Chang said. He said, I'm not anti anybody else. I just love the Chinese. And I just love foundational black Americans. Right? That's where I am. And because I understand, I embrace my lineage.
Right. And Eric, no one, and as we always talk, and I say this, and the reason I always talk with you about it, and we go back and forth, is because I know that you're not coming from a bad space. No, but we've been conditioned through the Willie Lynch letter. We've been conditioned through all of these things to have that first reaction that, Eric's coming from a bad place.
right?
No,
Because
no,
he
no, no,
can't.
no, 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 no,
And I'm not just saying
no,
Eric. So let's be clear. It's not about
no.
Eric, right? It's about black. It's about the consciousness of Black America, right? It's when you start to unplug yourself from the matrix, and we're at 12 o'clock. But when you start to unplug yourself from the matrix, right? Then
Right.
things get a little
The whole
uncomfortable.
passion in talking with you is that you're not coming from a bad space, just a different point of opinion that needs to have some direction.
Right. So we're out of
Right.
time. Vincent, you want to close us out? Jody, I love
Oh
you.
my God. Well, look, hey, another exciting 2 hours. Want to thank Jody for calling in, and Diane. I'm sure that your day is going to get better.
Hey, Diane, I'm gonna see if I can find you one of those biscuits. Actually, breakfast is over.
Not
So.
even possible. I got home and didn't have the bacon, so I opted to cook a hot dog to go with my pancakes.
Wow. Wow.
For those days.
One of those days. Just chalk it up. It's the weekend.
But the closing that we did in talking.
All right, but we're at 12, so we gotta.
Is that we need to be together. We
Right.
need to unite because they're looking to keep us separated so that they can conquer us, and we cannot fight them all if we're not one and loving one another. So, on behalf of Eric Dawson and Diane, the Queen of Media, be safe. Keep your distance. Wash your hands. Wear your mask. And above all, if it's God's will, we'll be back to Monday. God bless everyone.
Have a great weekend, guys.
Eric Anti-Black Dawson.